Hello, everyone, and welcome back to CPO TV. I'm Avery Griggs.
And I'm Tyler Pereira.
And today with us, we have Chema Sanchez, who is the founder and national scouting director of the Caribbean Baseball Organization's new partner, Prospect Farm. Chema, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Avery. Thank you, Tyler, and everybody for the invite. I think this is going to be a great opportunity to chat a little bit about what we have going on in the new partnership for sure.
So Chema, tell us a little bit about yourself. How long have you been involved with this recruiting service, and what's your background?
Yeah, so I'll start with my background. I am originally from Venezuela. I came, I grew up in Venezuela and went to school there. I was raised there. When I was 16, I had the opportunity I graduated and I had the opportunity to come here and play in college. I was lucky enough that I was playing. One time I made the national team and I came up here and traveled to the United States for that. So I was getting a little bit more exposure than normal international kids. So I started to learn a little bit about the process. I ended up going to junior college. Actually, I went that way because I didn't have very good English back then. So I went there first for 2 years, played ball there. I was able to, had found good success. I was an All-American there the first year, the second year. Then I was able to switch to Division I. I went to Delaware, where I was able to play the next 2 years, where again I found pretty decent success. Then I was able to sign after that as free agent. I was able to play a little bit. Then afterwards in independent ball, went on to play in Japan from 2013 to 2015, and there was a time in between that where I started this, because obviously being foreign, I had some people that needed some help, and they were asking me how did I do it. So I started helping them out and referring players to different coaches, and organically this kind of came all about where I was referring players and coaches, linking them, and then next thing you know, it was 5, 10, 15 players, and I was like, look, I better, I may have something here. And it was basically built out of the need. A lot of kids didn't have the same opportunity that I had to be able to travel. My parents, thank God, had the means to be able to support and back me up on that. So I was able to help them. I figured there was a need there where people needed the help to get connected. And that's where I started. So we started while I was playing. It was in 2008. No, in actually 12. So I started doing that, and that was the last year when I graduated from my master's, and then I was going to Japan, and then I was running it from there, and ever since, we expanded it from baseball to soccer to tennis to all different sports, but baseball obviously being a big strength of ours, just because that was my background. So
Right. So as you mentioned, a little background about Prospect Farm, can you give us some details of what does your service include for the athletes and recruits that you have?
Yeah, so our goal is we are an advising basic company, a marketing company. What we provide is exposure. For people, whether they're here in the United States, there's people that get overlooked regardless. Just because you're here doesn't mean that coaches get to see you. You may be overlooked because you're in a small program, because you're or if you're out of the country, you're simply out of the country. Coaches aren't going to go fly over there to see you. So and you can be sending emails out to coaches. It's not the same than when they get it from businesses, people that they know. So our job is basically to provide exposure, and at the same time the guidance and the advising of the counseling. Okay, what things you should do, how should you answer the coaches, which options are better than others, and just walking them through the process. If they're international students, how to obtain their visas, how to apply, what things should they have, because there's a lot of people that basically have no idea on the needs. They think that just because you're good at a sport, you're gonna get recruited and come here without English or the financial backups or the academic side. So we provide all of that in one, and at the end to ultimately get people and put them in the best position to get a scholarship in the United States.
So Chema, this service is such an incredible idea, especially when navigating the waters of college. It's so complicated. There's so many moving parts. So how much does this service cost, and what kind of levels are there?
So it varies. It varies depending on what grade you are. We do have a standard fee for international, which usually runs about $2,000. And I'll explain a little bit how those costs really go about and how they really are much less than other people do. And the reason why they are is because, again, I went through it. I know the need, and that there's people that actually don't have so much money to do it. So there's that. And then when you are in the United States, we do have separate fees. We have a $1,500 one for seniors, and then it increases by 500 an extra year every time you go, like a junior, sophomore, and freshman. And then we offer one tier that it's basically the standard one where they can pay about $800, but they basically have to do everything. It's not as personalized as the premium one, but they still at least get the access to reach out to coaches and be able to build their profile in our platform. But what I was saying about the cost is, a lot of times it may sound like a lot, but it's very easy to just do the math on what you would spend if you're out of the country, how much it would cost you to spend on a flight. A tournament would usually cost you around $600, if not more. All the expenses like hotels, meals, and all that stuff. And that's just for one opportunity to be seen on maybe a 2 or 3 day span, where coaches may not be there sometimes. They may be looking at somebody else. You may get overlooked. I mean, there's a million reasons and a lot of things that have to go perfect for you to get cut and be seen. So you may just basically do one tournament, spend the same $2,000, and that money goes down the drain if you don't have a good weekend, period. It may just be that. It may be a million coaches there, but you have a terrible weekend and nobody saw what you're really capable of doing. So it's very easy to put that in perspective and realize that it's really not that much. And it's worth it if you're starting the process early and you never have to pay anything else again. And we basically support you through the whole process and guide you through it.
Right. As you mentioned the price, a lot of parents may be cautious or worry how much involvement will they have in their child's recruiting process. So how do you keep the parents involved during that?
Yeah, so I always say the ones that are actually being recruited are the parents most of the time. It depends on where, the age and where they're from. When they're here in the United States, it's a little bit different. Kids are a little bit more, mature at this, just because I think they know about the process a little bit more. They grew up wanting to get recruited. So, but still, parents are usually, this can be very overwhelming. I mean, this if you're really good, you may get 20, 30 schools reaching out to you. So it's always good to have the parents helping out and starting to sort things through and start to narrow down which school. So it's usually sometimes the parents that are I don't want to say smart enough, but mature enough to put good answers towards coaches. Usually they talk to us first, and then we tell them, look, this coach may be trying to do this. You should reply this way. This one is trying to do this. You should reply that way. So with the guidance, is usually easier with the parents. But yeah, the parents ultimately are the ones that, they want to know where the kids are going. So they are going to be very heavily involved. But I do appreciate when we get athletes that are also mature enough to take charge and go on and reply to coaches on their own. But they certainly want to take, charge. It's always better,
right,
when they take charge.
So once the first payment is made, where does the process go from there?
Yeah, so immediately after, if we haven't spoken, I mean, there's people that sign up without really talking to us or anything like that when they come from scouts or associates that we have. But for example, typically we have at least seen them in video, so we can give them an evaluation. But normally once they make the payment, we immediately set up a call where we can talk about their goals, their objectives, what it is that they're trying to accomplish, because everybody's different, right? So you may be a great athlete and not have any money, and so you need a full ride. You may not be a good athlete, but have a lot of money and not care for the ride, for the scholarship. You just want your kid to play. There's some that may not be good or have the money, but they're great academics. So we got to see and be honest and realistic about how much money can they really get from that. So there's just a lot of scenarios. So it's always important for us to get on a call and get in line and more importantly, manage expectations. That's super important. A lot of kids just think they're going to get full rides anywhere. So for us to manage that expectation so we can deliver on those is very, very important. So once we do that, then we put a map, a plan on place where we say, okay, look, your abilities are more suited to this level of college. are you okay with that? Like, once again, if his expectations are okay, then we target that, and we go from there. But the idea is to always put a plan together so that we can go ahead and execute it, and they can, be aware of what's happening, so they're not, blindfolded into this process.
Right. As you mentioned, like no recruit is the same, no athlete is the same. So does that play an impact on what colleges you go out and contact? And if so, like
Yeah, 100%.
how many schools are in your database for these recruits that you contact?
Yeah, so we work with every school in the country. So we are fortunate enough that we have every single one of them. Of course, there's always changes in coaches, so we do have to wait always until the updates come up so we can keep that list fresh. So I'm not gonna sit here and lie that we have 100% accuracy on all of those, because again, there's changes. But yes, the level of play has everything to do with our plan and where we target. So we, a lot of people think that our clients are usually the parents and the families, and they are, but really the main client for us is the coaches. So a lot of people think the other way, and then what they get is a lot of angry coaches, because you're just sending people without thinking of them. And for me, has always been, if I send a quality athlete with, a good character kid, good family, that's not going to be a headache to somebody, that coach is going to be happy. And if that coach is happy, he's going to continue to get our players. So that's been a good thing for me, because I take a lot of pride on coaches taking players from me without even seeing them. Just trusting or gut and saying, hey, look, our evaluation, we think this kid is an A+ in character and family, and he's going to be okay. He's a good player. So usually, again, they take those, and that's what we want, because we don't want this process to go super long. A lot of parents don't take it well. They get very desperate, and they think that that's just because they're not good enough. And it's not the case. It's just it's a long process. But yes, we, depending on the level, we go, whether it's a junior college, NAIA, or everything. So that's how we determine which level we're going to push in.
So once you determine the level and what coaches you're going to reach out to, do you take the reins, or do you let the family do all the
So
time?
if it's the premium one, if it's the premium plan, we take everything. So that's actually the benefit. So the emails are actually coming with my name, my evaluation, my pre-judging of where he's going to go to. So if I always say to the coaches, if you receive an email from me about a player, it's because I think that he can play at your level. So there's a lot of companies out there that are email blasting kids, and I get it. It is exposure. You're paying for exposure, but again, you're burning a lot of bridges and you're wasting a lot of people's time. So if a kid is a D1 level, there's no reason why you should be sending that profile to a D3 coach. So that D3 coach is obviously going to be interested in the kid, but the kid is not going to have interest in him, nor will the coach ever have a shot. So you're wasting the coach's time, and you're just playing with the family's like emotions, really, because they think that everything is, oh, it's great, I'm getting these schools and all that stuff. But eventually, it's just like if you need money as well. If you're a scholarship kid and need the scholarship, why sending it to D3s if you're not going to get much? So for us is hitting the right ones, even it may not be, we may have the whole database, but if this 200 is where we should be playing, but they're the right 200, that's what we're about. We don't care about email blasting and you having 10,000 emails from coaches. If you can have 7 perfect ones for you, 10 perfect options for you, where it's the right plays, the right money, and the right everything.
Right. Going off of that, so what is your success rate, and about how many athletes have you placed?
Yeah, so we had the first, well, since everything, we've been you're talking about in the span of all of our time, like
Right.
since we've been created. Yeah, we're a little bit over 250 athletes since we started.
Right.
We had a little bit of time where we paused it, close to a year, where we had to pause because some things that happened within the organization. But and then the whole time right now that we were optimizing our system, because we just came up with a new platform and system that took quite some time to get done. So that was a break there. But yeah, we typically, and again, we're not about grabbing a million players and just taking anybody. We really, like I said, it's important for us to provide good quality athletes to coaches. So we do try to filter as much as we can. Or if we're not in line with the parents' goals and expectations, we just simply won't work with them. So it's very different than your typical recruiting service.
And so when you start your evaluation, what metrics do you look at? Do you look at batting average, ERA, OPS, or is it more just what you see during the evaluation?
Yeah, not at all. It depends, obviously. I mean, if I'm getting a kid from, it's super weird. I mean, you get kids from all over the place, so you can't really trust sometimes their numbers, batting average. I mean, I myself, when I was in school, I remember I would send my stats to kids, to coaches, and I would put in there because I was hitting like 700 when I was in high school. So it's like, but they're gonna be like, what are you playing against, right? Now, in my case, you see a video and you can kind of put both things together, where you say, okay, those go with the average, but then you see kids that have those average, and then you see a video, and then it doesn't really match. The swing is not really there, so you're now second guessing the competition that he's playing against. So I purely go of I can see. I mean, I've been around for long enough where I see somebody hit batting practice in 4 swings. Usually, you can see, how good, and if he has many holes in his swing. And the same with other sports, like you see the speed, you see the explosiveness, you see instincts. If I see some gain footage, is always good. But yeah, that's usually what we go off. I don't go off of many stats unless it's home runs. That's an obvious one that you can. I mean, it doesn't matter where you're at. A home run is a home run. But yeah, I get players from Argentina that it's like, I mean, I know they're not playing against very tough competition, right? So I gotta be very sensitive with that. But then if you get a Florida kid that's hitting 400 here in Florida, that's a good thing because it's good baseball. So you just gotta take that into account. But ultimately, a video says it all.
Right. And at Prospect Farm, you work with a lot of international students. Can you talk about the challenges that international students face when coming to the United States to play sports? And like, what do you do at Prospect Farm to help make their transition easier?
Yeah, so if it's like the challenge that we run, usually it's prior to them signing up, right? So it's lack of information, lack of knowledge of the process, and English is obviously number one probably. So we have deviated ourselves and try to push more for bilingual schools and people that in that range, or that social, I guess, stratus. But so for us, that's been one. But once they come here, I mean, I would like to think that I do a decent job of preparing them on how the process is going to be. Again, I went through it. And I was only 16 years old when I was already in college. So for me, I mean, if I did it at 16 years old, most of the kids that we're bringing, they're usually 19, 20 years old, international ones at least. So, I mean, that's, they should be mature enough. But yeah, I still prepare them and tell them how things work. But it's usually the parents, the fear of them letting their kids go. It's a big one as well. That we're a little bit different internationally. You're sending your kid to another country. So it's for me to calm them down, really. But no, English, I would say, and knowing the expenses. They may live over there with certain amount of money and they think that that's enough everywhere else, but here everything is different. So you just kind of have to give them a relation of how things are over here versus there.
With the craziness of the last year and with COVID and closing borders, how has that impacted your international draw?
It did a little bit. Actually, it did a little bit on the coaching side because coaches didn't know yet how it was going to work. They had less money. Some seniors got the opportunity to stay on the team and play an extra year. So that's one less player that left and freed up scholarship. So sometimes they had already recruited people. These people didn't leave. So now you have a surplus of players with less money. So there was a little bit of time where we had to pause again and kind of wait to see what happens. Internationally, I think more than ever, kids now, I tell them, I say, look, more than ever, you have to be seen, you have to be shown. I mean, that doesn't stop. I mean, it actually helped a little bit in the sense of coaches are home now, they're not playing, so they're more paying attention they rely more on us because there's no tournaments or as many tournaments out there. So they rely on us a little bit more. And then the second thing that we struggle a little bit now is with the borders closed and everything closes, is people being able to get their videos done. There's a lot of countries out there where they're in full lockdown and they just cannot get out there and record a good quality highlight video. So, or they don't have games going on, so they can't film. So the ones that didn't do the homework before that and did their things and recorded things, they're struggling now. But no, I mean, we've done what we can in order to get things moving, because again, you cannot just let this thing happen, like stop your process and not be seen. I mean, that shouldn't be an excuse at all. But yeah, we did get affected a little bit.
So we have an additional guest today, Gregory Tulloch, organizer of Team Jamaica for the World Comes to the Palm Beaches and parent of a high school athlete. Welcome, Gregory. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
All right, so Chema, will you explain the Prospect Farm to Gregory?
Yeah, absolutely. So Gregory, again, so we are basically a marketing consulting company. What we do is we help guide you through the process of getting recruited for colleges. So we use our database, our network to get you exposed, and then we provide the guidance on which, what should you do throughout the process. Everything, I mean, we have, like Mario was saying, we have the database of all the coaches in the country, but that doesn't necessarily mean that every single one of the players is going to get sent to those schools. It all varies depending on the level of play, depending on the needs. Coaches may have different needs depending on their academic level and financial level. So most international people, as you may probably agree, because of the situation, the dollar and the cost and things like that, they usually take that junior college route because it's just less expensive, and sometimes they get a little bit more money. So yeah, it's just a matter of knowing, your team, the level of play that you may have. I think they all should speak English, right? If I'm not mistaken. Right, Gregory? Is he not there?
Yeah.
Gregory, did we lose you?
Keep going.
I'll give him a
They
call.
Yeah, so the last thing I was asking was the English. So it's just a matter of now evaluating and seeing the kids and the level. I don't know what year they are, if they're about to graduate, if they're juniors or what. But yeah, the idea is to get you guys, exposure so that your kids can be seen by schools and all that.
We have a bunch of juniors, and I think we have one senior right now, but we have a bunch of juniors and a sophomore.
Okay. And is any of them going through the recruiting process right now? Are they speaking to any coaches? Are they doing anything to get ahead or no?
Some kids, I have one kid right now. They're all on travel teams, so they all play different showcase tournaments and whatever. So I have a bunch of kids that's been doing that.
Yeah, that's fine. And again, that's okay. Most of ours, again, we get it from one high school or from one, let's say, hitting facility that sends us the player, but then they're all over playing in different leagues. But my question was, if they were being recruited by colleges already, are they talking to schools already? Are they narrowing down? Because I mean, if they're juniors going like this year right now in August, juniors, they should already been at least reaching out, or at least doing the homework part.
Well, we have a couple that's been doing homework, but that's about it. COVID hit us, so a lot of the stuff we had planned for them over the summer got kicked back.
Okay, that's fine. So, but this is, just so you know, this is usually, so let's say if they were already in the recruiting process and talking to schools, November 1st is when the dating, like they could all sign this November. It's the date because they're in their junior year. So it's a pretty important time. So it's just a matter of seeing when do you guys, or if you guys want to start building profiles, getting the, under like the CBO to get the profiles and seeing, okay, let's get them out there, let's get them exposed so that they can start talking to coaches, so that they can start that process early and not have to wait until their senior year. And a lot of coaches would say, listen, I don't need this player already. I don't need that player, especially if they're good. If they're really, really good, the better programs are already recruiting couple years, 3 years ahead. If they're, okay players, like, and that's fine, and there's schools for everybody. But if they're okay, then those coaches tend to wait a little bit more because they usually don't get the yes from players right away, 2 or 3 years in advance. So that's the part that I guess it depends on each player and the level. I'm sure you have some guys that are way better than others, right?
Yeah, we have a couple of kids right now that hit really well. They can clear 400 easy.
Okay. Do you have videos?
And then I'm sorry.
Do you have any kind of video or anything like that on all of them, Greg?
Yeah, I have on Santiago and I have on Greg, but that's all I have.
That's fine.
I'll probably need to send that to you soon, right?
Yeah, just to evaluate. But then also pitchers, like, do you have any good pitchers that are throwing 80? I mean, there's juniors should be 82, 84, 85 around there or no?
Yeah, I have kids that are throwing they were in a showcase this weekend. They were in a perfect game tournament this weekend, and I think there's video of them online right now too.
You know how hard they were throwing?
Yeah, Santiago was throwing like around 86, 84, 86.
See, so just to give you an idea, a player like that's 84, 85, 86 as a junior right now, starting his junior year, it's a player that usually gets small D1 to, attention because they still have a full junior year and a full senior year. So that means that, you can project them to be probably 90, 89, 90 when they're seniors. So the good coaches will probably start grabbing them from now, assuming that he throws strikes, good mechanics, good secondary pitches, and all that stuff. So those are the players that if they're not speaking to anybody, Greg, they should be already talking because they're going to get a lot of attention. They're going to get a lot of emails, a lot of coaches reaching out, probably a lot of early offers, especially pitchers, because pitchers, if you throw the speed, you can already project, where position players is a little bit, you can always go down, you can always plateau, whatever. So with pitchers,
he's also a first baseman too. So.
Oh, that's good. But that's okay. But trust me, if he pitches and he's there in the 85, 86, they're going to look at him as a pitcher first, unless he absolutely rakes and hits bombs. But usually, that's what's going to happen.
He's a better pitcher. I mean, he's a better hitter. Well, he's a good pitcher. He throws a lot of strikes for a lefty.
Oh, so he's a lefty. So
he's a big lefty.
Now, a lefty throwing 86, you're looking probably good D1 now, like immediately contacting. So, yeah, and we're always getting we get reached by coaches sometimes saying, "Hey, Chem, I'm looking for this for last year, for next year, for looking for this for 2021." And what we do is we connect those dots. And obviously, if the player likes the school, then they can commit. But it's like money that's already sitting there. So that's the idea. It's for you. I mean, if you guys can have them build a profile, the one that's free, and then they can talk about which, program or level they want to do. And
where are you out of?
What's that?
Where are you from? Where are you out of? Like, what city are you from?
No, I'm in Miami.
You're in Miami?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I work. I told you, Mario said I work with him with the Marlins. So I'm there. So I've been here.
You might be able to do a lot of stuff where I live at.
Yeah,
we have a travel league up here. We have a travel league that I run up here, so you can probably come up here and come and help them. Yeah,
well, you do everything through CBO. You just go, you do something like the CBO partnering with you guys or something, and then we can always go there just to watch them. If you want to host a little practice or something where we can just to evaluate evaluate, that would be a good one. And we knock one day just with that. So those are the type of things that we're looking to do. But to speak specifically about your players right now, that's the next step. Basically, is I don't know if you have talked to them a little bit about programs and this type of things that we're trying to do to help them, but yeah, you definitely want to have them at least make the first step and do the free profile so that we can and put whatever videos they may have there so that we can see them.
Okay.
And I think
That
Mario,
sounds like
and
sounds like a plan.
yeah, Tyler and Avery has all information as well, so they can always send it to you guys. But yeah, that's it. And let's put something together where maybe I go up there. I mean, right now it's the right time to. I don't know if you guys have fields open or not, but to host like a small workout or something, and just a day that you guys training them, and I'll go see them.
Tell me when I can get the Marlin field. No, I'm serious. Don't joke. I can get Abacoa. Just let me know when.
You can get what?
The Abacoa fields. The one in Jupiter, the Abacoa Marlin fields in Abacoa.
Oh, I didn't know which ones those are. So just get whatever field you guys usually train at, and all we need is just to see them. Again, if infielders to short, outfielders out there, and we'll kind of see it, and we can talk to them directly. So it's easier.
Okay.
You can invite the parents. Invite.
When it would be good for you?
We'll just plan out for a weekend. We'll just put a week.
Throw
Check
me
with your
some
guys.
dates. Throw me some dates so I can set it up.
I'll just put any weekend. I'll figure it out. I'll adjust. So any weekend you want to do it, just come up with one date and I'll go up there.
Okay then.
It's easier if you just get everybody on board over there, and I'll adjust to you guys.
Or they don't have to. You don't have to worry about them getting on board. As long as it makes sense to me. It makes sense to everybody.
Good. It should be easy.
Yes, it should be.
Yeah, and then we'll help you with the videos and all that stuff to get them done. So, like actual videos, because I mean they can have footage, but we need like serious recruiting video for coaches once they do sign up. So we'll help you out with that as well.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll just run this by. Do you have like a what do you call that? Like a guideline or a step process, so I can just show them.
Just send them. I would send them to the website. I mean, it typically shows like all the steps on what it is. I mean, you just go and it says register and you
No, just what you guys do, what you do, so I can just show them what you guys do, what you do, and so they can get what we're trying to do.
I'm sure. I mean, yeah, I can put something together if that's it. But typically, just go into the website, they'll know like that what they're talking about. So website is the best thing to show than reading a presentation or something.
And Gregory, if you have any other questions, Tyler and I are also more than happy.
Let him know you'll be the contact.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
If you need anything else or any other questions, Tyler and I are also a contact that you can use.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's great. That is great.
Yeah. Our information will be linked at the end of the video, and once we finish the interview, we can also share it with you then.
Okay, that's great.
Cool. Do
That's
you have
it?
any questions at all, Greg?
No, not on hand right now.
Cool.
But I will have a lot. I'm in my car. I'm in my truck right now, so that's why. And I just pulled. I realized the more I drive, the less you guys could hear me, so I stopped to talk. So
That's perfect, because those things, and that's where whether you want to put something together so I can go up there, whether you want to put something like this together with the parents of the team, that's another thing, and they can ask the questions. That's also helpful. But yeah, I mean, just let me know. We're here to help.
do you guys do like you know how these showcase like a perfect game or a prospect wire or a prospect select? go into different travel teams and do different travel organizations and like run their tryouts and give the kids video and stuff like that. Do you guys do stuff like that? Or
We can do their videos. That's no problem. I mean, it's not what we do, but we do videos. So we can go ahead and do it. But usually when we do videos for somebody, it's people that are signing up in our in the program, right? So we don't just do videos.
okay.
But what Prospect Wiring they do is they do the tryouts and they just bring a company in that do videos and they basically, get a cut of those.
Right.
Yeah.
I know. I kind of know that part. It's
Yep.
just that I was wondering if you guys do all of that stuff too.
Yeah, we do our own videos. Yeah, for sure. I'm super annoying about videos.
And
Like,
you guys don't run like the whole evaluation part of it though.
they're running what?
You guys don't do the tryout part of it though.
The tryouts? No, because showcases, it's tough, man. I mean, I've always found them not a scam, but there's just people that sometimes they say they're going to bring coaches and then I get there and I know certain coaches from certain schools and none of them are there, but then they send like their grad assistant. So it's somebody who may not, I mean, they have no weight. They probably don't even know much about evaluating. They're definitely not focused on seeing the kids. So, but again, they just have their shirt here that says, I don't know, Lynn University. And then they said they brought their Lynn coach. So to me, that's just like lying to parents. So it's hard to get head coaches in places. So that's why we never want to get involved in that. And we rather just bring the videos to the coaches instead of the coaches to the players.
Well, I'll send you my stuff with Greg and Santi and a couple other kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Greg, we'll be in contact with you after this.
Awesome.
Okay then. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, Greg.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
I'm Gifting Gope, Major League Baseball player. Please support international baseball by subscribing to CBO TV.